All right, I just arrived on a job site. It's about 7 a.m. It's a nice little pour here, little driveway action. We're gonna be pumping it back here. Got some fiber mesh in there, a couple of rebar dowels here and there, an old Cortina. I think this is going about 16 yards. Huge patio cover. And here's a nice empty lot right there, which gives me great access into the backyard. We've got some nice bull floats here. We got a fiberglass right here. It's like about a 5-footer. Nice cutter. That's about another 4.5-footer there. And of course, I never leave home without it. MX fuel battery platform going on my little 2-footer. All right, I'm all set here. Now we have to wait for concrete and go for it, man. It is cold out here too though. It's about 38 degrees right now, so hopefully it should get up to about 70, which will be really nice when it does. Right now I got to get my gloves back on. Well, the old gloves under the engine warmed them up real nice. Now we gotta go check out the mud. See what we got here.
Odell!
Complete concrete. Come on, stud. Put that outside, dude. Down low. Yep, that had a little bit more water than his usual. Maybe it was a little more hose, but it won't be that much hose once we get going here. Once we get about 50 feet back, he's gonna break one hose off, clean it out. That way we don't have to keep dragging it back, which it's the way to go, especially we don't have a lot of people here. You know what I mean? We just got me, my brother, and Kenny, and then we have the tractor operator, Bo. He set this up and dug it out and got it ready for us. So I'm using the 12-foot aluminum screed here. It's about 15 feet wide though, so we're gonna kind of go back and forth on it. Anybody know anything about those Cortinas? I don't think I've seen one of those, but I found out from the homeowner that's the name of it. Looks kind of like a Ford or like a Comet. That's what I was thinking it was a Comet or something like that, but it's actually a Cortina. So here's that hose coming off now. This is gonna go 16 yards. And that's what he calced it out as, although he's gonna wait before he confirms that 6-yard cleanup. Once we dump this 10, he'll take a measurement and then confirm, but he's expecting a 6-yard cleanup, and actually that is what we got, a 6-yard cleanup. Here's my old wood hand float, just laying it down along the edge. And what that does, it helps you from getting a lot of overage spillage onto the existing. You can kind of get that flat for about a foot out, so you're not pulling a pile behind the screed and it's not going over existing or even outside of form. So it's kind of good to do that around your perimeter. You work that hand float a little bit. So if you'll notice, we have no wire mesh, no steel reinforcement whatsoever, other than the dowels, the rebar dowels into existing. We have those in there, but that's it. So it can be done this way. All you'll really need is a lot of joints, control joints. And that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna put a lot of joints in here. They're gonna be probably at about 8-foot centers both directions. That means one all the way down the middle. So that means we have 7.5 foot both sides. And then we'll probably break it up into about 8 foot going, the other direction. So 56 square feet for each section once we start joining this out. The reason you're doing this here around this column early, you can't get a screed around it, so you got to kind of catch it early and get it laid down nice. Here's that 5-foot bull float, covers some area and it lays it down quick. This is a 3000 PSI. When you get a 3000 PSI and you're pushing it through a hose, you're actually creating friction. So typically pea gravel versus a big rock out of, tailgating. Pea gravel is going to go off a lot quicker. It's going to get harder faster. Here's your 5-foot long cutter. It's a super light aluminum, which is nice. You can extend it out in the air and you can hold it up. Like some of them are much heavier. This one's really feather light, so it works great, especially in this case where you have a fence behind you. So you kind of got to deal with that and lift it out there to get the full extension. So basically what we're doing here, we want to get our joints in before we Fresno. The reason we do that is we've already dry snapped, so you don't want to Fresno over the lines you snapped. That'll delete them. So we got to get our joints in and then Fresno behind your joiner to knock out your lines from your joiner. Not the joint, but the outside lines of the joiner. So you're not really, at this point early, you're not really going over the joint itself. You're jumping back and forth on both sides of it. Here's an area where the walking joiner is not going to fit. So I just stuck my trowel in there nice and deep. Well, that's a brand new trowel too, by the way. Blue steel from Roseboro. Got it at World of Concrete. It was really reasonable. I caught Roseboro tool last day out there at the World. And got it for like 25 bucks, Normally I think they're like 45 or something. And that's delivered. I think they're still running that special too. Here's our second load, and it was getting tight on that cold joint. I mean, it's not something to be really super concerned about it cracking at that cold joint, but another 30 minutes and it might have been a little concern. And if that's the case, if you do run into that, where your cold joint's getting hard, you're gonna have to straighten that up, with a straight edge, or just run a joiner and then cut it back with the shovel, pour it against your joint. In this case, we will be putting a joint very near where that cold joint was, probably within about 6 inches of it, because that's just the way the math worked in between those two posts. We wanted to center it between the two posts for joints. It was close to that cold joint, close enough to make it work. But I was cutting on top of the hard concrete, not the new load. So we kind of got that joint late, but you can see I got it in. That'll be showing here pretty soon. So again, we're still working with just that 12-foot screed, and you can see it got a lot wider over here. So now what we're gonna do is kind of like pull a wetty down in the opposite direction, and then we have something to wet screed off of. And you can see how that worked out really nicely there. This concrete's about 4 inches deep, really consistent. So you haven't seen the joint going the long way all the way down the driveway, and you probably won't. You know why? Because we're going to be saw cutting that one the next day. So today we're going to get all the major joints in, major crack points to get you through the night. And then Bo's going to come back himself. He's going to be running the Medusa, and he's going to run one all the way down the middle. So it's all laid down, and now we got to jump back and do some catch up. Jump back with the funny trowels, the walking joiner, the walking edger, and broom it. And that the whole first load, matter of fact, both loads, I don't think we knee boarded any of this. We didn't really use much in the way of hand tools for that matter. It was all stand up and work it at the right time kind of thing. Now, if you can do all that, you're golden. There's no reason to really get down on your hands and knees. Little hand action here and there, just touch-ups. So we had good access to work the concrete from both sides. So that's another crucial thing, and not having to get down and dirty and bust out the sliders and stuff, because we were able to stay on top of this all the way through, and we had good access to do that. But see that's pretty much ready to broom right there. Just a matter of time before the broom comes out and starts working its magic. Here's Kenny on his edger. He's got one of the old school, the original walking edger. Doesn't really have a pull adapter. It's just a fixed wood. Oh, here I am trying to cut that joint right where the cold joint was, but I'm working on top of the hard concrete, so I really had to saw this to get it in. But the nice thing about going on it when it's this hard, it stays really straight. When you're working with a 5-foot cutter, it's hard to make it crooked. Now here's the broom, and this is just after all your pull tools. Notice how he's stopping at the shadow with the broom. That's because in the shade there, it's going to be a little bit softer. So, you know, once he gets the major area covered with the broom, he can take his time and walk around and touch that shaded area up in 20-30 minutes. Really good weather conditions for doing concrete. So this is a pretty large area for, you know, 3 guys. We got Kenny on the pump, and then me and my brother doing all the finishing and lay down. But when the weather is right, you can do that. So we started at about 38 degrees in the morning. Right now we're up to about 70. So really ideal. Old Bo was showing me his tractor over there, that little Bobcat, and it's an enclosed cab. Showing me, I was looking in that engine compartment, and the silt, you know, the fine silt that's out here, and it kicks up a lot of dust when you're driving in these dry fields. It builds up in the bottom of that Bobcat engine compartment. It builds up so high of silt, and there's no escape for it, that it can be a problem for your electronics, he was telling me. So they really need to come up with something that lets the dirt out instead of building up. So we're all caught up now. With the whole first load is all finished out. Now Kenny and me are on the funny trowel here in the front, catching it from both sides, getting it ready for that broom to keep on coming through. We got our major joints in. Now it's up to Bo to follow through with his long one down the middle. But look how nice and straight those joints are with those combo joint tools that we used. You couldn't get them straighter even if you threw a straight edge along them. They're just perfect. Little touch up along the edge here. There's your final look. It's all broomed out at this point. Here's a nice look at it. So that's all that's left, is that one saw cut, and then you got some nice sections all the way through. Look how straight those joints are though. Wow. Anyway, a beautiful upgrade for this home. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button. That way you'll be notified as soon as we pop the next one. Have a good one. Bye.